Come on, tell me. What is coordinate covalent bond? It is also called which bond? Dative bond. So what is coordinate covalent bond? The bond which is formed by donation of pair of electron by one of the joining atom, isn't it? The bond which is formed by the donation of pair of electron by one of the joining atom is called coordinate covalent bond. Do you know what is the difference between covalent bond and coordinate covalent bond? In covalent bond we have studied atom A, atom B. So atom A has electron, atom B also has electron, right? Then but atom A and B both require electron for stability. Therefore what they do? So they contribute electron. No, atom A contribute its electron, atom B also contribute its electron. By contributing electron, what they do? They share later. So atom A feels it has 2 electron in outermost, atom B also feels it has stable electron. So this happens in case of covalent bond. Therefore a covalent bond is formed by contribution followed by sharing. But what is coordinate covalent bond? Coordinate covalent bond is different from covalent bond. In coordinate covalent bond there is a atom A which is having lone pair of electron or excess of electron. Atom B has vacant orbital, it is electron deficient. So therefore now here a bond is formed between A and B. How? It is not by sharing. So here atom A donates one pair of electron to atom B. At the same time atom B accepts the pair of electron from atom A. Then donation and donating accepting a bond will be formed. That kind of bond is called what? Coordinate covalent bond. It is also called covalent dative bond. So therefore what is the definition of coordinate covalent bond? Write down. The bond which is formed by donation of pair of electron. Donation of pair of electron by one of the joining atom. Pair of electron by one of the joining atom. Right, called coordinate covalent bond or dative bond. Right. Let us take one simple representation. Atom A, it is having lone pair. Atom B, which is having vacant orbital. Come on, tell me which is the donor, which is acceptor. Obviously atom A donate the pair of electron to atom B. Atom B accept pair of electron from atom A. By donating accepting a kind of bond is formed, that is a coordinate covalent bond. Right. So therefore now first question, in the formation of coordinate covalent bond there should be a donor and there should be a acceptor. So therefore a dative bond is formed between donor and acceptor. The next slide, a dative bond or coordinate covalent bond formed between donor and acceptor. It is formed between donor and acceptor. Next, do you know how this is denoted? A dative bond is denoted by arrow mark. No, here we have represented. It is denoted by arrow mark. This arrow mark indicates there is a donation of electron. No, so this arrow mark now indicates that one pair of electrons are donating by one atom to other atom. So this shows the transfer of electron or donation of electrons. Okay. Next, so therefore here dative bond is formed between donor and acceptor. Therefore what is the donor or what is the characteristic of donor and what is the characteristic of acceptor? Yeah, The characteristic of donor is donor must have at least one pair or one or more pair of electron, and it should complete its octet. For example, donor having pair of electron without octet, without completion of octet, it is not a donor. Donor must have pair of electron. It should complete its octet. It should have 8 electron its outermost orbit. Then only it can act as a donor. Okay. Next, what is acceptor? Acceptor should able to accept electron. It means it should have vacant orbital. If acceptor do not have vacant orbital, it cannot accept electron. Therefore, so acceptor must have vacant orbital. And moreover, donor is called Lewis base, isn't it? Lewis base. And acceptor is called Lewis acid. Right on. Donor should have at least one or more pair of electron, one or more pair of electron, and complete octet. And it is act as a what? Yes, donor act as a Lewis base. Some people say it is Lewis base. All right, Lewis base or Lewis base. Okay. Do you know this Lewis base also be called electrophile or nucleophile? Nucleophile. So therefore, it is nothing but nucleophile in other term. Next, then what about acceptor? Acceptor should have vacant orbital, right? Acceptor should have vacant orbital, right? And it is act as a Lewis acid, that is electrophile. Next point. See, next is we have studied covalent bond, right? And we used to say that coordinate covalent bond is a one type of covalent bond only. That means a coordinate covalent bond, wherever you get coordinate covalent bond, this coordinate covalent bond taken as a single covalent bond. You should consider as a single covalent bond. Suppose a molecule has two coordinate covalent bond, then how many covalent bonds? Two only. That means a coordinate covalent bond can be taken as or can be considered as a single covalent bond. Okay, why we study later, right? A coordinate covalent bond can be a coordinate covalent bond or dative bond can be taken as single covalent bond. It can be taken as a single covalent bond. Next example. Formation of H3O plus, ammonium ion, BF4 minus, even H2O2 also, H2O2, BF3 ammonia. Okay, etc. or having coordinate covalent bond. Tell me, let's say how H3O plus is formed. We know that H3O has H2O, which is having how many lone pair? Oxygen has two lone pair, no? Next, it has H plus ion also. Then tell me, H plus ion has vacant orbital or not? We know that hydrogen has 1s1 electron. Hydrogen has 1s1, but it is what? Plus. It means lost 1 electron. That means H plus has vacant s orbital. Due to presence of vacant s orbital, what happened? This water molecule donate one pair of electron to H plus. Okay. So by donating H plus ion, it becomes what? So by doing one lone pair of electron, it becomes H3O plus. Okay. Why it is H3O plus? Because oxygen losing its lone pair, no? Here oxygen get positive charge. Then this H plus gaining electron, it means it become neutral. H plus become neutral, now O become positive. Therefore, it form H3O plus hydronium ion. Next, similarly, come on, tell me, formation of ammonium ion. Here ammonia has one lone pair, similarly H plus. In the formation of ammonium ion, which is the donor, which is acceptor? Donor is ammonia, acceptor is H plus. By donating and accepting, it form a coordinate covalent bond. Next, what about BF4 minus? In BF4 there is a BH3, right, and a H minus. Now tell me, H minus. Now which is the donor now? Yeah, H minus. Oh, sorry. F minus. F minus is donor now, right? Why? It has fluorine has 17th group element, no? 17, 7 plus 1 electron. 8 lone pair are there. Sorry, 8 electrons are there. So therefore, it donates the pair of electron to BF3. Then, now tell me, it donating pair of electron, it loses charge. Now which is get charge? Boron. Therefore, it is a BF4 minus. Right. Similarly, H2O2. In H2O2 also there is a coordinate covalent bond. H2O, right, and this is O. Right. So here oxygen, okay, donate pair of electron to other oxygen. So therefore here it is oxygen, okay. The bond between one oxygen other oxygen is a coordinate covalent bond. It has open book structure now, like this. Okay, so this bond is a coordinate covalent bond. Next, yeah, these are some examples. BF3 ammonia. In BF3 ammonia, which is the donor now? NH3. It has lone pair, right? Let us see some more example. Ozone has dative bond, comma, SO3, comma, SO2, even H2SO4, etc. Tell me. Now question is like this: which of the following molecule has dative bond? So it's most commonly asking question, and I gave in DPP also. How to identify molecule has dative bond or coordinate covalent bond? Let us take ozone. We know that ozone has, of course, bent structure like this, right? This all single bonds, right? Yes or no? But this oxygen has how many lone pair? If there is a 2 bonds, no, it should be 2 lone pair, right? But can it expand its valency to 3? Possible, no? Possible. Now 1 lone pair. Now tell me, if I write like this, is it possible? Not possible, right? It is not possible because of valency. So therefore this is not possible, right? Now tell me, if it is like this, how many electrons will be there? 1, 2. It is 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Now 7. It is 8. Okay. But now tell me, it is having how many? Okay. No? Now here the bond between this oxygen and this oxygen is a dative bond. Similarly, take SO3. In SO3, there are 6 valence electron. Right? If you write all oxygen with double bonds, you better write like this first, so they will get understand. Tell me whether this structure is possible according to octet rule. This is not possible. Why? Because if it is like this, you just see there are how many electrons? Total 12 electron. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 electron. So if any molecule has 12 electron in central atom, it is highly unstable. That it doesn't obey octet rule, right? Therefore, now what it can do is, you just say this, write one dative bond. Now count it. How many?
10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It is also not possible. Therefore, make one more bond is a dative bond. Now count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Therefore, this is possible. In this way, you can identify dative bonds. There are 2 dative bonds in SO3. Understand? Similarly, SO2. In SO2 also, sulfur has 6 valence electron because it belongs to 16th group. Now, suppose if it is a 2 oxygen, we supposed to write like this. Okay. But thing is whether this is possible. Now what is the drawback? That is octet rule. So therefore, if it is this, it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 electrons. After forming bond, sulfur gets total 10 electron. So it doesn't obey octet rule. Therefore, you make it one double bond to coordinate bond. Now it become 4, 4, 8. Therefore, SO2 has one dative bond. Okay. So like that you can write, you can identify the number of dative bonds. Similarly, sulfuric acid. This also I gave in DPP. Sulfuric acid has how many dative bonds? If you write sulfuric acid, it should be like this. Right? OH. This is a OH. Right? Double bond. This is double bond. Okay. Now tell me, how many electrons can we get after formation of bond? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 means 12 electrons. Okay. So it is not possible. So therefore what happened? This 2 electron can form one dative bond. Now how many? 2, 2, this 2, 2. Total 8. So this is the possible structure. So in this way you can calculate the number of dative bonds. Okay, but write one note. Write a note. Note is, see, second period elements, let us take beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, etc. All second period elements do not expand their octet because they don't have vacant orbitals, vacant d orbital. So second period elements do not have vacant d orbital, therefore they do not expand their octet. So therefore here these in this case more than 8 electron in outermost is not possible. But in case of third period element like sodium, okay, sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, etc. So these third period element having vacant d orbital in their third shell. So due to presence of vacant orbital, they can expand their octet. So therefore, sulfuric acid structure, this is possible. In book and all, you can see this structure is possible. If I ask to write structure of sulfuric acid, you should write this only. Right? Why? Sulfur belongs to third period element. In all third period element, vacant d orbital is possible. Right? Due to presence of vacant orbital, their octet is expandable. Means it's more than 8 electron in their valence shell is possible. Right? But the questions here, don't confuse. If they ask write the structure of sulfuric acid, write this. If they ask find out the number of dative bonds, this is dative bond. That's what. See, dative bond, we used to say it is nothing but sometime it form covalent bond also. Dative bond is one of the way of representation of covalent bond only. That's what dative bond we do not study separately. Right? According to IUPAC concept, IUPAC says that dative bond is not a new bond, it is a one kind of what? Covalent bond. Like for example, like sulfuric acid only. Sulfuric acid, if they ask dative bond, 2 dative bonds, but the structure is this, it is also possible. Why this is possible? Because sulfur belongs to third period element, they are having vacant d orbital, their octet can be expandable. Right? Whereas the same thing is possible in second period element? Not. Second period element do not have vacant orbital in their outermost orbit. There is no 2d orbital. Will you write 2d orbital? It is impossible. But we can write 3d orbital. So therefore, they don't have vacant d orbital, all these second period elements. Therefore, their octet cannot be expand. For example, like carbon. Carbon can form only 4 bonds. Right? It means there are only 8 electrons. Can you write 5th bond here like this? Not possible. Right? Because it cannot expand. Similarly, nitrogen. Nitrogen maximum form 4 bonds. Ammonium ion. How many electrons? After formation of bond? 8 electrons. Can you write one more bond? Can expand nitrogen its octet? No. That means all second period elements do not expand their octet, whereas third period can expand octet. Therefore, so this structure is possible. Okay, write note. First point. Second period elements like beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, etc. Beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, etc. do not have vacant orbital in their outermost orbit. Do not have vacant orbital in their outermost orbit. Hence, they cannot expand. Hence, they cannot expand their octet. Hence, they cannot expand their octet. Whereas third period elements have vacant orbital in their outermost orbit. Vacant orbital in their outermost orbit. Hence, they can expand their octet. Hence, they can expand their octet. Okay. So only this is the possible. These are the possible questions. They may ask dative bonds. Which molecule has dative bond? Which molecule do not have dative bonds? Okay. There was one more question. By giving molecule, they expect which kind of bonds are present. Okay, write on question. Which of the following bonds are present in ammonium chloride? I think same question we come across. Which of the following bonds present in ammonium chloride? In ammonium chloride, which bonds are present? 1. Ionic bond, 2 covalent, 3 dative, 4 all. Ionic, covalent, dative, all bonds. There is a ionic bond because it is a ammonium is a cation, Cl is anion. Okay, there is a less or more ionic nature is there. Ionic bond will be there. Next, there is a the ammonium ion. Just now I have studied how the ammonium is formed. Ammonium ion is formed by donation of pair of electron from ammonium to H plus. It is a dative bond. Next is ammonia. When you take ammonia, in ammonia central atom hydrogen, there are 3 hydrogen. So there is a 3 covalent bonds. Which covalent bond? It is a sp3. Yes, no? Nitrogen is sp3. It is yes. sp3s, sp3s, sp3s. 3 sigma bonds are there. It is a covalent bond. That means ammonium chloride has ionic bond, coordinate bond, and covalent bond. So all 3 type of bonds are present in. This is one possible question. By giving molecule, they expect which type of bonds are present. Okay. Other than this, nothing will be there about coordinate covalent bond. And if they ask properties, what are the properties of coordinate covalent bond? So beginning only we have studied coordinate covalent bond is a one kind of covalent bond. Therefore, the properties of all the covalent molecules, nothing but coordinate covalent molecule. Like for example, melting point, boiling point, even direction nature also. Covalent bond is a directional nature. What about coordinate covalent bond also? Directional. It has arrow mark, no. It means it is directing towards donation to acceptance, donor to acceptor. Therefore, these molecule also can exhibit isomerism. All the properties are similar to covalent compound properties. You just go through the covalent compound properties. That's enough. Okay. Next is bond parameters. Bond parameters. So now we have completed covalent bond, ionic bond, even dative bond also. Okay, and we study more about covalent bond. Okay, there are many concepts about covalent bond. So when you study covalent bond has some important parameters. Like every covalent bond has its length. We used to say it is bond length. Every bond has angle, that is bond angle. Every bond has bond energy. Therefore, if you want to study about any molecule in detail, particularly covalent molecule, you need to study about 3 points. One is a bond length. What is the bond length of molecule? What is the bond angle? And what is bond energy? Therefore, these 3 are the important parameters of what? Any given bond. So therefore, what are the bond parameters we study? 1, bond length, bond angle, and bond energy. Right? First, bond length. So what is bond length and what are the factors affecting on bond length? Questions are important. Tell me, let us take atom A. Okay, it has nucleus, right? Atom B, it has nucleus. In classification of element, we have studied this. Tell me, atom A, atom B, the adjacent atoms A and B, right? They held together by like covalent bond. Now, what is the bond length? It is nothing but the internuclear distance. No, the internuclear distance between two adjacent atoms. But here you used to say the equilibrium distance, because in between atom A, atom B, there will be oscillations. Bond will be in oscillation. So therefore, here we take the equilibrium distance between two adjacent atoms of nuclei or nucleus of atom. Nothing but it is internuclear distance. What is the atomic radii? The half of the, we take here half now. The half of the internuclear distance is a atomic radii. The internuclear distance is nothing but bond length. So therefore, bond length is nothing but it is the equilibrium distance. The equilibrium distance between two nuclei of adjacent atoms. The equilibrium distance between two nuclei of adjacent atoms called bond length. Okay. Next, can you tell me what are the units of bond length? It is length, no? Like small units, angstrom, picometer, nanometer, isn't it? So units are, it is a angstrom unit, picometer, even nanometer, etc. In classification of element I gave interconversions. Do you remember? Tell me, 1 nanometer equal to 10 power minus 9 meter or 10 power minus 7 centimeter. Next, 1 picometer equal to 10 power minus 12 meter or 10 power minus 10 centimeter. 1 angstrom equal to 10 power minus 10 meter or 10 power minus 8 centimeter. Okay. Next, what are the factors influencing or affecting bond length? Factors affecting bond length. 1. Electronegativity. Electronegativity of atom. Second is bond order. This bond order we take nothing but multiplicity, bond multiplicity. Bond multiplicity. Next, third factor is hybridization, in bracket percentage of S character. Fourth factor is resonance, and fifth factor is atomic size. So these are the 5 factors affect the bond length. Okay, now let's say first one is electronegativity. Then how does electronegativity affect the bond length? Here there are two cases. Let us take case 1. If the electronegativity of two atoms is same, if electronegativity of two bonded atom is same, then what is the bond length? If electronegativity of two bonded atom is same. So what is the meaning of this? It is nothing but, can I take like this, ENA minus ENB. Electronegativity of A atom, electronegativity of B atom means it is a subtract is 0 or not? ENA minus ENB equal to 0. That means both the atom having same electronegativity. When both the atoms having same electronegativity, in that case, what is the bond length? So bond length can be calculated easily. That is, yes, bond length is equals to radius of cation or radius of anion or radius of atom B. It is just the sum of the radius of A and B, right? If it is, for example, diatomic molecule, come on, like hydrogen, chlorine, homodiatomic, take homodiatomic molecule, hydrogen, chlorine, bromine, even O2, N2, all these are homodiatomic molecule. Tell me, in homodiatomic molecule, they are having same atoms, no? Same atoms. When atoms are same, obviously their En is same. En difference is 0. That means in this case, what is the bond length? That is a Ra plus Rb. But here the radius of the two atoms is same. Therefore, bond length is equals to 2 into Ra or 2 into Rb. This is in homodiatomic molecule. When En difference is 0. Case 2. In second case, if two bonded atoms have different electronegativities. If the two bonded atoms have different electronegativities, in that case, what is the bond length? Come on, tell me. That means it is nothing but ENA minus ENB is not equal to 0. In this case, bond length is different. We have formula, bond length is equals to, it is RA plus RB minus 0.09 into, it is a ENA minus ENB. Where what is the ENA, ENB? ENA is a electronegativity of atom A, ENB is a electronegativity of atom B. Then what is RA, RB? RA is equals to radius of atom A and RB equal to radius of atom B. But generally, when you see the relation between electronegativity and bond length, so electronegativity or bond length is inversely proportional to difference in electronegativity. Important. Where what is the delta En? Delta En is it is difference in electronegativity. It means if the difference in electronegativity is more, bond length is less. If the difference in electronegativity is less, bond length is more. For example, let us take HF, HCl, HBr, HI. Come on, tell me what is the order of bond length? Huh? You need not to see this also. Say, tell me, down the group, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, what happened? Atomic size increases. When atomic size increases, the internuclear distance is increases. Right? It means which has more bond length? HI. Which has less bond length? HF. So therefore, bond length is increases down the group. So due to more bond length, HI can dissociate easily. No? It has less bond dissociation energy. It can be broken easily. Therefore, HI is a strong acid. We have studied. Hydroiodic acid is a strong acid among these acids. Right? This is first factor. Next, second factor. Second factor is bond order. Bond order or nothing but it is a multiplicity of bond. Come on, tell me. In previous class we have studied bond order. What is a bond order? The number of bonds present between any two atoms. The number of bonds present between two atoms is called bond order. Number of bonds between two atoms is nothing but bond order. Okay. Come on, tell me. As the bond order is increases, like AA, single bond, double bond, triple bond. If the number of bonds increases in between any two atoms, then what happens? As the number of bonds increases, so those atoms comes closer. No. Obviously, number of bonds is nothing but attraction. As the number of bond increases, attraction between two atoms increases. When attraction increases, these two atoms comes closer. So obviously, bond length is decreases. So that means more the number of bonds, less bond length. It means what is the relation between bond order and bond length? So bond length is inversely proportional to bond order. Right? So therefore, if I want to give order of these bonds, single bond has more bond length than double bond than triple bond. And one more example, let us take carbon carbon single bond, double bond, triple bond. Right? Do you know what is the bond length of carbon carbon single bond? Alkane bond length 1.54 angstrom. It is a 1.34 angstrom, right? 1.20 angstrom. Single bond, double bond, triple bond. As the number of bonds increases, bond length is decreasing. It means bond length is inversely proportional to bond order. Right? Next, third factor is hybridization or percentage of S character. Okay. Do you know what is the percentage of S character first? How to calculate percentage of S character? We have sp3, sp2, sp. Tell me, what is the percentage of S character in sp3? Here, how many S are there? 1. Number of S is 1. Okay. How many total parts are there? 1 S part, 3 P parts. Total parts are 4 into 100 because we want percentage, that is 25. S percentage 25. Next here, similarly, what is the percentage of S character? 1 is S, 2 is P, total is 3. It is 33.33 percentage. Similarly, percentage of S character 1 by 2 into 100 is 50 percentage. Okay, even you can calculate for any given hybridization also. But here remember one important point, the percentage of S character is directly proportional to electronegativity. This is we have studied in classification of elements. Here also write one point, the percentage of S character is always directly proportional to electronegativity. Now, we are studying about relation with bond length. Come on, tell me, bond length is inversely proportional to percentage of S character. It means as the percentage of S character increases, as the percentage of S character increases, then what happened? Bond length decreases. For example, let us take, it is a CH bond, alkene. In alkane CH bond, alkene CH bond, alkyne CH bond. Just now I have studied. In alkane, what is hybridization? sp3. This is sp2 CH bond. It is sp CH bond. Come on, tell me which CH bond has more S character? sp3 25. It is 33. It is 50%. That means sp CH bond has more S character, right? More S character means less bond length. So therefore, if I want to arrange the bond order, bond length order, so which one has more bond length? sp3s has always more bond length than sp2s, sps. And moreover, if you take value also, it is approximately 110 picometer, it is 108 picometer, it is 106 picometer. It means as the percentage of S character increases, bond length is decreases. Let us take one more example. Carbon, carbon, sp3 carbon. Next, it is a sp3 carbon, sp2 carbon. Next, sp3 carbon, sp carbon. Next, let us take sp2 carbon, sp2 carbon. Next, sp2 carbon, sp carbon. Next, sp carbon, sp carbon. Come on, tell me what is the order of bond length? Here also same, no? sp3, sp3. What is the percentage of s? 25, 25. Here 25, 33. Here 25, 50. It is 33, 33. 33, 50. 50, 50. More s character in both the carbon, less bond length. It is the order of bond length. You understand? So bond length can be compared with the percentage of s character. One more example. Let us take carbon nitrogen. Right. It is sp3 carbon, sp3 nitrogen. Let us take now C double bond N. It is sp2 sp2. C triple bond N, sp sp. So the bond between or bond length between carbon nitrogen. So which bond length is more? Less yes, less s character, more bond length. So in this way you can identify the order of bond length. Important examples. Right, it is related to electronegativity, sorry, hybridization. Next, third factor is third or fourth? Fourth factor is resonance. So this is also we have studied. Write one sentence. Resonance makes all bonds equal in molecule. Write down. Resonance makes all bonds equal in a molecule. So this is we have studied. Tell me where you have studied concept of resonance. For example, benzene. Tell me, we know that benzene has double bond and single bonds. In between 1 and 2 carbon, first and 2 carbon, double bond, 2 and 3, single bond, double bond, single bond. So benzene has alternate double bond, single double bond alternatively. Therefore, benzene supposed to have carbon-carbon single bond how much? 1. It should be 1.54 angstrom. It means this bond length should be 1.54. This bond length should be 1.34 because carbon-carbon single bond length is 1.54, double bond length is 1.34 angstrom. You have studied, but this is not. So the bond length of all the bonds in benzene is 1.39 angstrom. This is due to resonance. So important, resonance makes in a molecule all the bonds become same bond length. Why? This molecule can have another resonance now, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This double bond may come here, it may come here, it may come here. Sometimes double bond in between 1, 2, sometimes single bond between 1, 2. So therefore we write resonance hybrid. What is resonance hybrid? This double bond rotate in between all the carbon atoms. So therefore, due to resonance hybrid, all the bond lengths are equal. This is fourth factor. Take down. Fifth. Next factor is atomic size. Yeah, fifth one is atomic size. How does atomic size influence the bond length? I'll write one example. HF, HCl, HBr, HI. Come on, tell me. HI. So what happened the bond length from HF to HI? Increases. It means when the size of central atom is increases, obviously bond length should be increases. Therefore, bond length is directly proportional to atomic size of central atom. Okay, so this is the order of bond length. Next is second bond parameter is bond angle. Bond angle. Come on, tell me what is bond angle and what are the factors. So bond angle is, let us take example, you know, we have studied hybridization. Take methane molecule. This methane molecule has tetrahedral geometry, right? Like this. What is the angle between any two hydrogen atom? We have studied it is 109 degrees 28 minutes. This is called bond angle. Then this 109 degrees 28 minutes is what? It is angle between what? Angle between any two hydrogen, right? Any two bonds. There are 4 bonds. In between this hydrogen, in between these two hydrogen, in between these two, in between these two. It means the angle between any two bonds in a molecule is called bond angle. The angle between any two bonds, the angle between any two bonds in molecule called bond angle, right? Next is factors influencing or affecting bond angle. So what are the factors influence the bond angle? First one is electronegativity. The same factor we study. Electronegativity. Second one is bond order. Bond order nothing but bond multiplicity. Next, third factor also same, hybridization. Fourth factor is number of lone pair. This is different. Number of lone pair of electrons. Okay. Let's say first electronegativity. One, electronegativity. So how does this electronegativity influence the bond angle? See, particularly in group, important, just remember, in a given group, in a group, bond angle is directly proportional to electronegativity. This should be is applicable for only group. For example, in 15th and 16th group we study hydride. 15th group hydride, 16th group. Do you remember? 15th and 16th group hydrides. 15th group is ammonia, phosphine, arsine, stibine, bismuthine, right? Ammonia, phosphine, arsine, stibine, bismuthine. What is the bond angle of these hydrides? Decreases. Ammonia has highest bond angle because nitrogen has more electronegativity. Down the group, electronegativity is decreases. Therefore, its bond angle is decreases. Similarly, 16th group hydrides, oxygen H2O, oxygen, sulfur, yeah, H2S, nothing but H2S, sulfur, selenium hydride, no, H2SE, next H2T, polonium is radioactive element. Okay, then what happened there? Bond angle, same, oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, bond electronegativity decreases, therefore bond angle also decreases. Then what is the reason to decrease the bond angle? Say if you take ammonia, the bond angle of ammonia is 107 degrees, right? Then the bond angle of bismuthine is approximately 90 degrees. So that means 107 to 90, it is decreases, isn't it? Gradually decreases. So why bond angle should be decreased in? Yeah, of course, size of the central atom increase, no? Nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth. In nitrogen there are 3 hydrogen like this and 1 lone pair. Even in bismuth surrounded by, it is again 3 hydrogen. But what is the difference? Difference is atomic size, right? Atomic size of this bismuth is much more greater than what? Nitrogen. Then when atomic size increases, what happen? This, what is this bond pairs, the repulsion between bond pair is decreases. The repulsion between these two decreases. Now suppose it's very simple. Take small atom, there are 2 bonds, 1, 2, 3. In small atom there are 3 hydrogen. Of course in 3 hydrogen they are somewhat closer to each other, no, because they are placed in small size. If the same hydrogen placed big size atom, same number of hydrogen placed on big size atom, then tell me the distance between these two decrease, no? Then when increase, then what happened? The repulsions decreases. Therefore the repulsion between the bond pair decreases. When the repulsions decreases between bonds, then what happens? Bonds comes closer, bond angle is decreases. That one important point. It is due to decreasing repulsions between bond pair, underline important. It is due to decreasing repulsions between bond pair. Okay, next. Even bond angle is also depends on the electronegativity of surrounding atoms. For example, bond angle BA is inversely proportional to electronegativity of surrounding atoms. Let us take one example. See, all this we study even in groups also, in different groups, and important it is. Let us take phosphorus, PF3, PCl3, PBr3, Pi3. Come on, tell me. Here now central atom is same, lone pairs are same, right? But what is the difference? Surrounding atom, F3, Cl3, Br3, I3. Then what is the bond angle? Then bond angle is depends on surrounding atoms, not central atom. Here surrounding atom electronegativity is more, bond angle is less. Now what happened? Bond angle is increases from fluorine to iodine. Iodine has less electronegativity, more bond angle. Next, second factor is bond order. Come on, tell me. Bond order. Bond order nothing but bond multiplicity, number of bonds. As the number of bonds increases, what happened? Bond angle should be increases, like alkane, alkene, alkyne. Alkane single bond, double bond, triple bond. So what is the alkyne bond angle? 180. Alkane bond angle 109 degrees 28 minutes, because alkane tetrahedral, no, alkane tetrahedral, alkene, alkene, trigonal planar, sp2, trigonal planar, alkyne, linear. So therefore tell me, bond order is, or bond angle is directly proportional to bond order or bond multiplicity. For example, carbon carbon single bond, carbon carbon double bond, carbon carbon triple bond. Alkene bond angle is 109 degrees 28 minutes. Alkene is 120 degrees. Alkyne is 180 degrees because they are linear. So as the number of bonds between any two atoms increases, obviously bond angle is increases. Next, third factor is hybridization. Hybridization also, of course, similar. Hybridization. So that is here, bond angle also directly proportional to percentage of S character. Yes or no? Percentage of S character. Let us take carbon-carbon single bond, double bond, triple bond. This is sp3, it is sp2, it is sp. Which one has more S character? sp no, 50%. sp more character. Next is sp2, 33% S character. Next is sp3, 25. As the percentage of S character increases, bond angle also increases. Next is lone pair of electrons. Number of lone pair. Here condition is if hybridization of central atom is same. If hybridization of central atom is same, then bond angle is inversely proportional to bond angle inversely inversely proportional to lone pair. Yes. Now for example, take H2O, it has 2 lone pair, ammonia 1 lone pair, even HF, how many lone pair? 3 lone pair, fluorine, right? Come on, tell me now whether all 3 are having same hybridization. Hybridization is same, no? How? 2 bonds, 2 lone pair. See, by seeing the molecule you should able to tell hybridization. That much you should be practice. It is sp3. Here 1 lone pair, 3 hydrogen, 3 bonds. sp3, 3 lone pair, 1 bond is also sp3. All are having sp3. But if you see the bond angle of this is 104.5. It is 107. 107. Then it's more than one, not exact 180. Okay, near 180. It means it should directly know. 107. Yes. Lone pair is more, bond angle is less. Correct? No. Correct? Huh? Now tell me, this is order? No. More lone pair, less bond angle. Correct? This molecule is nearly linear, no, but not exactly linear. It has some repulsions, it has some structure. So therefore, bond angle is inversely proportional to lone. No, I think directly no. More lone pairs, more bond angle, no. Yes or no? Correct or no? Lone pair, okay. More lone pairs, more bond angle.
In H2O and NH3, H2O is less than NH7.
Okay, ammonia 107 more, H2O is
4.5.
right only.
Then the HF is 180, but lone pair is 2137.
180. More, more lone pair, more bond angle. One, 107 is more, no? Okay. You're telling about lone pair. Then 2 lone pair, it is 3 lone pair. Something is different. Hybridization is same, no? It means more. You leave it this. Then you just compare these two. I'll tell you. Compare these two. Yes, yes. This is only correct. Okay. So more lone pair, less bond angle. If hybridization of molecule is same. Okay, don't take HF. That may be exception. We'll study later. In 17 group element. Okay, so these are the 4 factors. Next is bond or no bond energy. Right on. So third bond parameter is bond energy. Right on. Bond energy. Come on, tell me. So bond energy, we have 2 types of bond energy. One, bond breaking energy, bond making energy, bond formation energy. Right. So bond formation energy is what we have already studied. When, yes, enthalpy of formation. When 2 atoms of approaches to each other, some amount of energy will be released. Then bond will be formed. So a bond always formed by releasing energy. It is also bond energy. But here we study reverse. So bond energy can also be taken as a bond dissociation energy. So therefore, already we have the bond between AB, right? It is a 1 mole compound. Then the amount of energy which is required to break the bond. To break the bond in where 1 mole of gaseous substance. It should be 1 mole, it should be gaseous. Therefore, the amount of energy which is required to break the bond in 1 mole of gaseous substance is called bond energy or bond dissociation energy, exact meaning. Okay, right on. The amount of energy required to break the bond, the amount of energy required to break the bond in 1 mole of gaseous substance, in 1 mole of gaseous substance is called bond energy or bond dissociation energy, called bond energy or bond dissociation energy. I told you beginning only. So wherever energy term comes, we must consider energy term for mole. So according to IUPAC, we consider energies per mole only. Sometimes I do not say energy per mole, but it should be per mole only. Whether enthalpy of formation, enthalpy of dissociation, whatever it is, wherever hydration, lattice energy, wherever energy comes per mole, it is decided, it is confirmed for, that is by IUPAC. Fine. So this is a energy of bond. It is nothing but AB molecule, there is a 1 mole, break this AB molecule, this is in gaseous state, you will get atom A plus atom B. So therefore, to separate atom A and atom B in 1 mole molecule, some amount of energy is required, that energy is called bond energy. Now, what are the factors affecting on bond energy? Factors affecting bond energy. So again same factors. One is electronegativity. Second factor is bond order or bond multiplicity.